And US President Donald Trump has agreed to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong Un after an invitation by the leader of the reclusive state. This according to a South Korean envoy who recently visited Pyongyang. The said meeting may come in May this year. Confirming the development, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said, and I quote, "President Trump greatly appreciates the nice words of the South Korean delegation and President Moon. He will accept the invitation to meet with Kim Jong Un at a place and time to be determined. We look forward to the denuclearization of North Korea. In the meantime, all sanctions and maximum pressure must remain."
That North Korea will refrain from any further nuclear or missile tests. He understands that the routine joint military exercises between the Republic of Korea and the United States must continue. And he expressed his eagerness to meet President Trump as soon as possible. President Trump appreciated the briefing and said he would meet Kim Jong Un by May to achieve permanent denuclearization. The Republic of Korea, along with the United States, Japan, and our many partners around the world, remain fully and resolutely committed to the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Along with President Trump, we are optimistic about continuing a diplomatic process to test the possibility of a peaceful resolution.
Meanwhile, a U.S. administration official said President Donald Trump agreed to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong as he is the ultimate decision maker in his country. Earlier, South Korean envoy Chung Yong, who returned from the North Korea after meeting leader Kim Jong Un, said Pyongyang is willing to begin negotiations with the United States on abandoning nuclear weapons and suspend all nuclear and missile tests while engaged in talks. Chung led a South Korean delegation earlier this week on a historic trip to Pyongyang. Washington and Pyongyang have been at loggerheads for months over the North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. Both Trump and Kim Jong Un have traded insults and threatening war. And now I am joined in by Ramesh Ramachandran, who's joining us live from the newsroom with more details. Ramesh, no sitting US president has so far ever sat down for talks with North Korean leaders. So this could be a diplomatic win if, these prospective talks actually materialize. How do you view the change in US strategic policies towards North Korea?
Absolutely, Akanshi. It's a breakthrough. It's unprecedented, and it remains to be seen where it all is headed in the next few weeks as we speak. Remember, President Trump surprisingly has agreed to meet with Kim Jong Un. We don't know the time or the place yet, but we're given to understand that the two leaders will be meeting in the month of May or even before that. Remember, by the end of April, the South Korean delegation and the North Korean counterparts will be meeting at the demilitarized zone at the Panmunjom village between the South and the North. And that will be followed by the much important, crucial meeting between Trump and Kim Jong Un. So that said, at the moment as things stand, North Korea says it is open to a moratorium on nuclear and missile tests, which has been welcomed by Trump. North Korea also says the talks will have to be without preconditions, and that's exactly what Washington has said, that they will meet and then decide the contours of the talks going forward. So as things stand now, we are tantalizingly poised, so to speak, because this is, there's so many possibilities from these talks going forward that is nothing short of unprecedented and a breakthrough of sorts in the US-North Korea ties.
Right. Ramesh, also the big question that still remains is that will the international sanctions still remain in place for North Korea?
Well, Akanksha, as things stand now, nothing changes on the ground. The sanctions are in place and will remain in place for the foreseeable future. All that is a subject of negotiations between the North Korea and Washington going forward. But Trump has made it more than evident, abundantly clear, the sanctions will remain, pressure points will be applied on North Korea and the North Korean regime going forward. But at the moment, what they've decided is to meet. That's a starting point for future talks, and the two leaders will be hoping to take it up from there going forward.
That also brings me to my last question, Ramesh. How could North Korea actually benefit out of these prospective talks?
Well, Akanksha, we've seen this kind of a maneuver happen with many other countries around the world, including Iran, for instance. Now, Iran is a good textbook example of how diplomacy takes shape over decades. Iran was under decades-long sanctions. Its economy suffered. At the same time, it wanted to beef up its defenses. It went the nuclear way until they negotiated and came to an agreement. That same template is applied to North Korea as well. North Korean economy is in doldrums. It is not doing well at all. Acute food shortages and economic downturn has sort of broken the back of the North Korean economy. But at the same time, it has stepped up its pressure on the world stage by going nuclear. It conducted the 6th and biggest nuclear test in September last year, which coincided with the BRICS summit being held in Xiamen, China. It also had conducted many ballistic missile tests. So clearly, North Korea says its strategic program is a defense against external intervention. At the same time, economic imperative or logic dictates that North Korea relent and have a rapprochement of sorts with the US.
Right. Thank you so much for bringing in that perspective, Ramesh. Ramesh Ramachandran joining us there live from the newsroom. Thank you, Ramesh. Now, we earlier spoke to WION correspondent Steve Mott reporting from Washington, D.C. on this matter. Listen in to what he had to say.
That's right, a very big development indeed. You know, what we're hearing from the White House this evening here in the United States is that there is no date or place as of yet. Nobody is willing to commit to a time or a place for these two leaders to meet. What we are hearing is the continuation of some tough words that we have heard over recent days and weeks. You know, the South Koreans said in their statement outside the White House a few hours ago that the North Korean words would now need to be matched by actions. And that is something that we've also heard from the White House this evening. In a statement from the White House press secretary, President Trump greatly appreciates the nice words of the South Korean delegation and President Moon. Of course, in that statement, they complimented President Trump's leadership as responsible for leading up to the developments this evening. He will accept the invitation of Kim Jong Un at a place and time to be determined. We look forward to denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. In the meantime, sanctions and maximum pressure must remain, and that is key. We've had a concession, of course, from the North Koreans, according to those diplomats that met with the North Korean leader Kim Jong Un to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. But as of yet, there has not been a concession on the US side.